right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, we've got to talk about Justin Shier. At 2 days out from the Chicago Pro, he posted these physique updates. A front double biceps and a most muscular, and I got to say, he looks extremely impressive here. He looks really dry, really vascular. His lower body actually looks a lot better than I thought in that most muscular pose. This is kind of the first update in a couple of weeks, I think, that he's shown his legs. I really think he's going to do really well and surprise a lot of people at this Chicago Pro. This is his pro debut, his first ever pro show. He's going against some more seasoned veterans. I mean, Blessing Awodabu, you can't really call him a veteran, but they've been competing. They've been winning shows. Blessing Awodabu, Patrick Moore, and I think it's worth pointing out that still neither of those two guys, which you could argue are the best two bodybuilders on paper in that lineup, have posted any updates. We have no idea right now how Blessing is looking, how Patrick is looking, and we haven't known for like over a month. In Blessing's case, it's been a couple months. We know that Stanham will join this lineup. We know how Stanham's looking. We just saw him on stage in Vancouver. But I think Justin Shier is really one of the main guys to watch here. I think people are going to be surprised by how well he does. And I really do think, based on how good he's looking in this update, I don't think we're just talking about a potential top 3 placing here. I think it would be a very real possibility for him to win this show. But we'll see. I mean, honestly, I am a bit surprised that we haven't seen anything from Blessing. Blessing typically is pretty active when it comes to posting physique updates and just keeping his followers updated on social media, but we haven't really seen anything from him since like May, which I gotta say seems a little bit out of the ordinary for Blessing, so it makes me wonder how he is looking at this point in his prep. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'll show you guys that Chicago Pro list one more time with the updated names. What are your top 3 predictions for tomorrow's Chicago Pro? You've got Blessing Awodabu, Stephen Daniels, John De La Rosa, Iron Gali, Matt Kuba, Stan DeLongu, Emmanuel Longoria, Patrick Moore, Eric Ramirez, and Justin Shier. Now, next up in the news, here's a guy that we haven't talked about a lot recently, and that would be Nathan Asha. It's been a while since we've seen him on stage. He says in this update that he's 8 weeks out, which would mean he's prepping for the IFBB European Pro Championships. That's going to be the Spain show, and that's going to be an interesting show for Nathan to do because there's a lot of interesting guys that have already signed up for that show, including Regan Grimes. We're going to get to see him back on stage. I think that'll be an interesting comparison, him versus Nathan. But I think the big one, and this is the big what if, is Good Vito, Vitaly Ugonikov. This is the show that he's doing as well. This will be Vitaly's big pro debut. So, of course, one aspect of this is I think it's going to be interesting to see Nathan back on stage since it's been so long since we've seen him. He hasn't competed at the Olympia despite qualifying. We're going to get to see Regan back on stage at this show. And then you've got this really big pro debut with Good Vito. And now you've got some guys in this lineup that are relatively big names in the pro leagues. I mean, Nathan and Regan are top-tier pros. Nathan more so than Regan. Nathan has won multiple shows, which I think makes it much more of an interesting pro debut for Good Vito. It's not going to be some show that he can just come in and win easily. And, of course, we've got this factor of him potentially being injured after that guest posing. His midsection was looking a little bit weird. But if Good Vito were able to come in and win his pro debut, it looks like it's not going to be an easy one. So while I certainly think this is going to be a good show for Nathan to be the favorite, I think certainly you can't argue that Nathan will be the favorite to win, being the only guy, I think probably the only guy that's going to be in this lineup that has won more than 3 shows just in the last couple of years. But I do think it makes it interesting to see what happens with Good Vito here, because if he beats somebody like Nathan, I think that's really a big statement from him saying, I'm here and I'm the real deal. But we'll see. We really haven't seen a physique update from Good Vito since the day after his injury at that guest posing. Ever since then, we haven't seen really anything. Now, next up in the news, Iain Valliere saying he's 15 weeks out from the Olympia, posting this physique update saying he's weighing in the mid to high 270s. So I feel like this is confirmation that he's just going to focus on the Olympia now that he's qualified after winning Toronto. Because I thought there was still some conversation about him potentially doing what he's done in years past and doing multiple shows, even though he doesn't have to, even though he's already qualified. And I thought there was some talk about him potentially doing Tampa and or Texas. But it looks like that's probably not the case. And the Texas Pro is probably one of the shows that I'm most excited for now, to get to see Andrew Jacked versus Hunter Labrada. I think Iain Valliere would make an interesting addition to that mix. Now, next up in the news, speaking of 15 weeks out, Nick Walker posting a physique update, 291, which is very, very heavy for Nick. And I gotta be honest, my first impression here was, while he looks bigger, I was kind of underwhelmed by this update. Nick's got that type of physique where he's really big and round, even in the off-season, but I think that his physique is really suited best when he's just crazy vascular, he's got striations in his chest, he's got really deep abs, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of people, well, it is one of the things that a lot of people criticize about him, is his midsection. And I think if you look at the front double bicep here, he's doing the thing where he doesn't crunch down his abs. He's kind of expanding his lats and kind of doing what people who would hit a vacuum pose would do when they do a front double bicep, kind of expanding it rather than contracting. And he's actually one of the few guys that I prefer the crunch down abs on, because I think when his abs are deep and cut like that, it just makes his physique look that much crazier. But when he doesn't have those really deep separated abs, I think it kind of throws off his look. And I think because he's so big here, that's probably the reason why his abs aren't as prominent. And you can see in the last photo, in that most muscular there, you can still see visible abs. I don't know, as much as I love Nick Walker and I love his physique, something about this update just, it left something to be desired for me. I don't know if I'm just tripping or if any of you guys share that opinion as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this particular Nick Walker physique update. All right, now next up in the news, Carlos Thomas Jr. Another guy still awaiting his pro debut. One of the guys that I've been the most excited to see compete on a pro stage out of anybody. Originally, he was supposed to do the New York Pro. Then he said maybe Chicago. Now we've got confirmation, and this was on the Olympia TV YouTube channel, an interview that they did last night, that Carlos will be making his pro debut at the Texas Pro in about a month, where he says he's going to beat Hunter Labrada and Andrew Jacked. So every time I talk about Carlos, I like to show this video of him at the Nationals back in 2021, because this is the last time that we saw him on stage. And granted, we've gotten a lot of really impressive physique updates of him since, but he's taken the last 2 or so years to improve upon this physique that you're looking at right here. And I like to show this video because I feel like he looked so impressive at that year's Nationals. It's like mind-blowing to think about the fact that he's an amateur bodybuilder in this video. This is not a pro that you're watching on stage right here. This is an amateur bodybuilder 2 years ago. And I think, judging by some of the recent updates that we've seen of Carlos, he has improved upon this physique. He's added size. He looks bigger. He looks fuller. But I think what we're really waiting to see is, will the conditioning match the level of size that he has? He's got really good shape. His upper body, because his lower body's so insane, the fact that his upper body has kept up and matches and looks just as impressive, really, as his lower body is a pretty impressive feat. And he's been able to do all that without sacrificing his waist. His waist remains small. And I really think that based on what we've seen from Carlos so far, he's the real deal. Even though he's a shorter guy, does he have the muscle? Does he have the size to beat somebody like Andrew Jacked and Hunter Labrada? I'm going to say yes. I mean, you look at this most recent picture right here, the front double bicep and the side chest. He kind of reminds me of Derek Lunsford, being a shorter guy, very aesthetic, crazy width in the upper body, pretty impressive lower body, really small waist, great V-taper, but size. For a smaller, not smaller, but shorter guy, he's got the size. He's like a Derek Lunsford in the sense that he could beat these bigger guys, Hunter and Andrew. But it's really going to come down to conditioning. So while I say, do I think he has the size to do it? Yes. Do I think he has the physique to do it? Yes. But do I think it's going to be easy for him to beat Hunter and Andrew? No. Do I think it's going to be easy for him to bring that level of conditioning? No. Hunter looks like he's in phenomenal shape. Andrew Jack looked like he's in pretty good shape too. But just imagine that he does beat Andrew and Hunter. This is what I've been talking about with Carlos Thomas Jr. and Good Vito as well. The fact that we have some of these newer guys right now that really, realistically have potential to just take off with their careers, straight to the moon, meteoric rise. You talk about rising stars, but guys that are made within like a year. Andrew Jack is a perfect example of that, how fast his star has risen in bodybuilding. If Carlos Thomas Jr. makes his pro debut and somehow immediately beats Andrew Jacked and Hunter Labrada at the Texas Pro, I think he's an instant star. I don't think that's going to be an easy thing for him to do. I'm not going to hype him up that much, but do I think it's possible? Yes. And I like that he chose that show, because he could have chose the Chicago Pro this weekend, which would arguably be a lot easier for him. But he chose a very challenging show in the Texas Pro. And there could be even more really competitive guys. The competitor list is not out yet for the Texas Pro. We just know Hunter and Andrew. But just imagine that he does pull that off. He would be an instant star one show into the Pro League. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Carlos Thomas Jr. and his potential. That's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.